Here we go. Hi guys. What's happening, film nerds? Dave the Film Junkie here. So how was your day? Good? I can tell you my day was pretty crazy. My whole week's been crazy. Yes, it's been a pretty crazy week, guys. But yeah, today was the day. And a lot of people were asking me when this Wall Street Journal article was going to be posted. And my guess was it was either going to be today or tomorrow. If not, definitely by Saturday. And sure enough, it was posted today. And yeah, after it got posted, well, fans did not like it so much. So of course, that's what I'm going to talk about in this video right here. But let's start at the very beginning of this whole thing, because when we all caught wind that Wall Street Journal, Ben Fritz, was going to write an article about this Snyder Cut movement, my first reaction was, no shit. Not the best reaction, because, you know, a lot of people were actually hyped. They're like, wow, the Snyder Cuts will be represented in the Wall Street Journal. But my immediate thought was, oh man, this is going to be a negative article. It's not going to be good. People are going to get pissed. And, well, I mean, I guess that initial reaction was kind of spot on. But then after talking to, you know, certain people and looking at Ben Fritz's, like, you know, his previous articles and seeing that, oh no, he's been pretty fair when it comes to, like, you know, Snyder movies and stuff like that. I don't think this is going to be like a full-on hit piece or anything. And so I thought, okay, well, maybe this is going to be something fairly decent. It'll shine the light on the Snyder Cut movement, which will be good. And yeah, but it should be pretty positive, but I knew it wasn't going to be full on like, oh yeah, and guess what? The Snyder Cut exists. Guess what? Warner Brothers is going to announce it, and everybody's going to rejoice. I didn't think that was going to be the case, and pretty much what we got was, well, a lot of people weren't too happy about it. A lot of people consider this a full-on hit piece, and snarky, and just full-on, you know, people are hating on Ben Fritz. And what is my opinion on the whole thing? Do I think it's a full-on hit piece? No. It could have been way worse, guys. It could have been way worse. Definitely way worse. And I was gonna go through the whole article and just kind of just like read like certain things, but you know, there's a lot of things I don't have to like talk about. I mean, he just basically talks about, like, you know, director's cuts, how that has been. And this paragraph right here says, devotees have grown especially hopeful about the prospect of Snyder Cut news with Thursday's start of Comic-Con in San Diego, where studios frequently make big announcements to gathered pop culture fanatics. Now, this goes right back to, you know, my video like over a month ago where I said, is Snyder and the Snyder Cut going to be at the Comic-Con? And I said, hey, don't hold your breath. Highly unlikely. Then an article came out from comicbook.com that said, oh, we reached out to Snyder's people that said he's not attending Comic-Con. I backed it up because that's what I heard too. And I got a lot of shit for it. A lot of shit for it. Yes, there were people that did not want to hear that and, you know, basically gave me shit for it. And yeah, that was the start of the week, and I needed a nap. The article goes on and it talks about, you know, the Justice League box office, Rotten Tomato scores, Batman vs. Superman. What I find funny is an ardent group of fans believe Batman vs. Superman was powerful, relatable, visually stunning, smart, witty, and fun! Who the fuck said fun? That's interesting. I haven't heard fun. I mean, everything else? Yeah, pretty much. Maybe not witty so much. I mean, it has a sense of humor to it, but it's definitely not, I don't know. It's interesting. And then, as one wrote, and demonstrated a level of care unparalleled in modern cinema. As another said in another video, they see it as a worthy successor of Mr. Snyder's 2013 film Man of Steel, another violent superhero movie that polarized fans and critics. What stipulates a violent superhero movie? Aren't they all pretty violent? Is it only because he snapped Zod's neck? Yeah, when I think of violent superhero movies, I think Logan, especially. My God. But I think it's just, yeah, people just don't like the fact that Superman snapped Zod's neck. And then it just goes on, and then it says, after Mr. Snyder stepped aside in early 2017 following a family tragedy, Joss Whedon, the been brought on to rewrite parts of the movie and oversaw several weeks of reshoots and a new edit the studio had requested. Of course, the studio. The final film was notably shorter and less violent than Mr. Snyder's previous solo work and featured snappy dialogue familiar to fans of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Are you fucking kidding me? And then it goes on, more Rotten Tomatoes box office stuff, which we all know about. This little sentence right here is interesting. Mr. Whedon declined to comment through a spokesman. Shocker! And then here's where it starts talking about the fans. One Snyder disciple recently tweeted, which is somebody who doesn't have a huge following, but, is a voice. But it says, one Snyder disciple recently tweeted an altered version of a painting of Jesus giving his sermon on the Mount, replacing the Son of God with director holding a Justice League Snyder Cut DVD. These are just fun little memes, People are putting stuff like that. It's not to be taken seriously, but whatever. Mr. Snyder himself has teased fans in recent months behind-the-scene photos and blah, blah, blah. We all know that. A spokeswoman says Mr. Snyder wouldn't discuss a director's cut. Mr. Snyder never watched the version of Justice League released in theaters, she said. So why later in this article you talk about Whedon? Let's see, where is it at right here? Man, I can't even find it right now, but it basically talks about how Whedon did the reshoots that Snyder was overlooking them and blah, 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 blah. Stuff that we already knew and that we already heard about and that we know is absolute bullshit. Then comes the quotes. From Fiona as well as Chris Swenson. And, this is where it gets a little interesting. Let's see. Let's find Fiona's first quote. We want future films of the franchise to keep the same artistic integrity of previous works. Not like that theatrical Justice League, which was downgraded to a mediocre action comedy representing the antithesis of everything we cherish. That's actually a pretty damn good quote from Fiona right there. That's pretty much almost what's going on. And then he talks about Chris Wong and what he has to say. Bringing it in, he's done dozens of videos with titles like Silence and Disinformation, Justice League Snyder Cut. In some, he self-mockingly wears a tinfoil hat, which we all love. Chris is not taking it that seriously, and I've even done the tinfoil hat thing too, and I even got called out for making something of that. I don't know. A lot of people were just pissed at me this week. I know it's not totally done, Chris said, but I believe 100% there is a Snyder Cut of the film. And then it goes on by saying somebody close to the film, I guess, said, who are these people who won't stop talking about the magical Snyder Cut that doesn't exist? Why do I only read that in Jerry Seinfeld's voice? Comic-Con approaches. Some Snyder Cut supporters say they are more energized than ever. We are personally prepared for a long, drawn-out campaign. That's from Fiona, which is good, because we should prepare for that. This goes back to my video where it's like I said, where it's like, it's probably not going to happen. Don't get your hopes up. We need to be patient, really do. And then another Chris Wong quote that says, I think people will start losing hope if nothing is said by Comic-Con. And this is absolutely true. I know people, if they don't mention if Snyder's not there and the Snyder Cut's not mentioned, they are totally just going to give up on this whole thing. And I'm going to get to it more in a little bit here, but that's just fucking stupid. In the end, it says, he may end up with grim news for his YouTube subscribers. He's talking about Chris. Warner Brothers has a huge presentation planned for Comic-Con Saturday to promote upcoming superhero movies, including Aquaman and Shazam. The studio isn't planning to mention a Snyder Cut or release any alternate versions of Justice League, a senior executive confirmed. No names, which is a little weird, and a lot of people were questioning that. It would be nice if there was a name attached to it, but sometimes, and this goes back to my blogger video, why the big bloggers don't think the Snyder Cut exists, because when they reach out to Warner Brothers or whoever, sometimes they don't give a name, they just get the information, and that's all they need. It's never just as easy as like, oh, what's your name, and what's this, what's that? Sometimes that doesn't happen, but at the same time, I'm like, it would be nice to get that name, just because it just adds a little more credibility to the whole thing. So, that's the article right there, and whew. This article could have been way worse, guys. It could have been way worse, and I know a lot of people are making it sound like it's really, 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 really bad. And saying, oh yeah, the fans were misrepresented and represented as cultish and everything like that. But no, if they really wanted to represent him as cultish, there's a few people, and a few people who actually somewhat lead the movement that he could have used. He could have used, and I could think of one person in particular. They could have used that person's tweet, and yes, people would have been like, holy shit, what the fuck is wrong with these people? Many times I see in my timeline, just stuff that'll just show up, and I kind of go, well, that's not a good way to approach things, first off. And then there's sometimes where it's just like, wait, that's not how things work. You gotta, facepalm. Because it seems like everybody's an expert on how everything works, when they want something so badly. And, it's just not a way to go. And like I said, I mean, this guy could have brought up the whole, that Mata dude who was trying to get, the GoFundMe thing, would try to do the Snyder Cut documentary. And it's just, they could have brought that up. But luckily, he only brought up the change.org with 178,000 signatures, which is actually a positive. But when I see certain people who have a pretty big voice in the movement, like calling out actors in the franchise because something a producer said, and then there's people that back it up, those are the people that are bringing a bad name, a stigma to this movement. Because you know what happens when somebody, and hey guys, we got to realize there are going to be people that don't even know anything about this that read this article and go like, what the hell? This is interesting. This is why I said in a tweet, I said, do not go and harass this guy for his article. Because for the people who don't know anything about this, or even just people who do know about this, read this, and then go to Fritz's Twitter page, and then he's going, look at this. Or they look at his mentions, they go, oh yeah, that's what he's talking about. Yeah, these fucking fans are nuts. But doesn't mean you can't critique this article. A lot of people were thinking that I was just saying, like, don't say anything to him, don't do this. No. I'm just saying be professional. Don't just go and attack the guy and just start throwing all these words at him. We can easily critique this article. We can ask questions. That's the key right there. We can ask them why certain things were not in this article. For instance, why in this article about this movement, why that a group of DCEU fans, Snyder fans, raised money for underprivileged kids to go see Black Panther, an MCU movie. Why wasn't that mentioned? Why wasn't it mentioned that last weekend Snyder Cut fans raised over $1,000 for suicide prevention? Because obviously of what happened with Snyder's daughter. Interesting. And the big one, the absolute huge thing that everybody's kind of going, wait a minute, why wasn't Jay Oliva's interview in this article? Could it be because he knows more than anyone? Jay Oliva called him out, which is great, was interviewed by him, but was omitted from the article. Why? Why was that? Well, maybe it's, like I said, it's because Jay Oliva knows a lot of what was happening behind the scenes. He worked on the storyboards. He worked personally with Zack Snyder. And he's been saying shit over and over and over again, but it's not included in this article. Why? Because the narrative had to keep with this. Chris Wong, in his video about all this, which I felt bad for him when I was watching the video, because he said like 90% of the interview wasn't even included in here, and that's true. I mean, only like 2 quotes, really? Only 2 quotes. Same with Fiona. Were included in this article, but Jay Oliva's not at all. And he brought up a good point about Wall Street Journal, trying to call out YouTubers, the PewDiePie thing, and they included Philip DeFranco on it. It's a good point. I guess we really should have saw a lot of this coming. I even said there's probably a good reason I wasn't contacted, because even Chris asked if I got contacted for an interview. I don't know if my name was brought up or nothing like that, but see, I know a lot of what's happened behind the scenes. I've told you guys, whether you believe me or not, but I have a feeling, I would have said a lot of things if you would have interviewed me, and I have a feeling that if you interviewed me and he heard what I had to say, he wouldn't include it either. So while this article could have been way worse, guys, because there's some things that, there's some examples that could have been used, and it could have been, just like I said, way worse, because there's a lot of entitlement out there, and I've said that many, many times, and I'm not saying that the DC fans are like the worst, obviously not. We know which fandom's worse, that have literally like caused people to just like lose their minds, like actors and stuff like that. We know it's not. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there could have been examples that were way worse that could have been used in this article, but it wasn't used. So we got to be at least thankful for that. But the reaction to this has created an even bigger divide, which is not a good thing because we all want the same thing. We all want the same thing. We want to see Snyder's cut. We do. I even tweeted out, like, what does the Snyder Cut movement mean to you guys? You know, and I got a lot of responses. The common one I keep seeing is artistic integrity, you know, letting the director see his vision. It's like, okay, can we do that? Can we do that without shitting on other franchises on a daily basis? Can we do that without quote tweeting somebody with 106 followers that says something bad about a poster or about one of the movies? Can we do that without saying I'm going to boycott the rest of the movies because I'm not getting the Snyder Cut? That's one of the worst things. That is fucking entitlement, childish entitlement to the max right now. I'm going to boycott the rest of the movies until I get what I want. First off, Zack Snyder would not approve of that. Secondly, if we're talking about, these artists, respecting the artists, well, you're not doing that because James Wan, Patty Jenkins, David F. Sandberg, they want to create something. They want to give you something, and it seems like they're going to have some more creative freedom than Snyder and Ayer got, and you're just not going to go pay to see them? You're not going to go support that? That sucks. You guys got to realize that Warner Brothers already got the message. They got the message with that abysmal fucking box office that Justice League got. They know they fucked up. They know they fucked up, but they're not going to cop to it. Of course not. They're going to move forward, and of course they just want to make their money. You know, a lot of people have trouble realizing that studios, when it comes down to it, that's really what they want to do. No matter what studio is, they want to pull in as much money as possible, but we just hopefully they give these creators, some leeway and like back off a little bit. Doesn't always happen, sadly, and we hope that they learn from their mistakes. But when it comes down to it, yes, that's the number one thing. Money. And I've gotten a lot of shit this week, and I'm not trying to play victim or anything like that. It's just because, there's a lot of entitled fans that when you tell them something that they don't want to hear, yeah, they turn on you. They absolutely turn on you. I've had people tell me that they've unsubscribed to me because of certain things I've said when I've said, hey, let's not act like this. Let's act, let's be better people. And they're like, they didn't like that, or they didn't like the fact that I, backed up that comicbook.com article where I said, like, yes, that's what I heard too. I got a lot of grief for that. I got a lot of grief for, today and everything. And it's just, yes, this is the bad part of fandom. When people hear things they don't want to hear, they lash out, knee-jerk reactions. Instead of having like a discussion, which I love having, they immediately just go to, ugh! And that's not a way to do things. Because to me, it's like you're making it seem like I just told you, like, fuck the Snyder Cut. It doesn't exist. Just give it up. Just give it up. And I'm telling you right now, do not give up. I've said it many times that Snyder, if he's going to get his Snyder Cut out there, he's going to have to do it himself. It's probably going to have to leak. I want him to show up at Comic-Con on the floor, maybe putting up some posters. The Snyder Cut exists or something like that. Just walking around and putting that up. That would be fucking awesome. I want him to post shit on Vero to give us more reassurance, okay? But we have to be patient. We have to be patient, and we gotta not like just overly hype ourselves. That's what I keep on saying is like, stop doing that, because then you're gonna be met with disappointment, which is what's been happening like crazy this week. And then you have people turning on each other, and it's absolutely bullshit. I turned all Arnold Schwarzenegger right there. Don't lose hope. That's not what I'm saying. Seems like a lot of people think that's what I'm saying, but don't lose hope. We can't depend on Warner Brothers to release it, okay? There's things that have happened previously where it's been leaked out. We just got to be patient. Don't cancel the DCEU. Don't cancel Henry Cavill for stuff he said just because you don't like it. Don't call people snakes. The Jeff Johns thing, the stuff I heard, a little bit of a snake. Yeah, I get that. But guess what? Things got rearranged, and now he's doing his thing that he should be doing, and I'm okay with that. Even though I heard the things, and I'm like, god damn, that guy, whoo, what an asshole. The Snyder Cut movement, to me, is the same thing. Artistic integrity, seeing, we're not going to get the 5-part plan that Snyder wanted, but I want to see a full-on trilogy, the full vision of the trilogy, the Superman trilogy that Snyder wanted. That's what I want to see. I want to see it completed, and I want future, I want the studios to give these artists, like, their due. They trust them, and like, here, do your thing, and we trust you. Because, as much as people, and the same people that give the shit to is the Star Wars fandom and Lucasfilm and everything like that, they gave that to Rian Johnson. And guess what happened? Look what happened. Fans got all crazy. But, do you think that Lucasfilm was like, hey, do this, do that, do this? No, they let Rian Johnson do their thing. So that's why I respect it for that. But, yeah, guys, don't lose hope. Just don't lose hope. Stop turning on each other. Stop, fighting with each other. If you hear something you don't want to hear, do your own investigation too. Don't be afraid to do that. That's what I tell people all the time. Because you got to realize, guys, people like me got burned. Try to defend the DCEU, defend all the crap that was happening last year, and then to get invited to the Warner Brothers lot to see an early showing, private screening of Justice League, and to walk out like I got punched in the gut because I realized all that shit that I was like defending, and trying to debunk was all true. So you got to realize that's why I'm not like 100% being like on this side where I'm like hyping up and doing this and talk, I'm not doing that so much anymore. Because my job as being a voice is I got to take everything in. And I got to try to be unbiased as possible, which a lot of people aren't. And I try to be. And I get shit for it, I get shit for like the fact that I thought Infinity War was great. I get shit for that. That's not good. Anyways, guys. Appreciate you watching. Let me know your thoughts about it down below. I'm sure there'll be more stuff about this. I'm going to do a live podcast with Chris Wong post Comic-Con. I'm not sure exactly when. We'll figure it out soon. Probably be sooner than later because I would like to talk to him about the interview and everything and get his more of his 2 cents about everything. So maybe it might even be the day of. I'm going to talk to him probably tonight and see what's going on. But yeah, let me know your thoughts about it down below, guys. Hit that like, thumbs up button if you'd be so kind. Subscribe to my channel. Visit filmjunkie.com for all my content. And, of course, visit the closet for shirts and stickers. All right, guys? Talk to you later.